Now, isn't there a risk of giving São Paulo voters the impression that your priority isn't your own election for governor, but rather campaigning for President Lula in the state of São Paulo?
Look, I don't have the problem that Tarcísio has of trying to distance me from the presidential candidate. You know that Flávio Bolsonaro is facing 1,000 legal issues. Some of them have been blocked in court, like the case of the salary skimming scheme, or the case of 100 properties bought with cash. We know that this doesn't happen. So that chocolate shop, everything looked like a money laundering scheme. I don't have that problem. Who has a problem? The one with the presidential candidate is Tarcísio. Just so you know, he didn't mention Flávio Bolsonaro's name even once during the banned debate. So he has issues with Flávio because the whole Vorcado thing also barely affects Bolsonaro's ministers. There are 3 ministers from Bolsonaro's government who have to explain themselves. The president of Bolsonaro's central bank also has to explain himself. He's friends with everyone. Tarcísio is friends with everyone. He received money from the Vorcado family to finance himself. Bolsonaro also received it. I don't have that kind of problem. The audio of Flávio Bolsonaro with Vorcado saying, bro, send me 100 million because I need money. Yeah, the problem is with Tarcísio and Flávio. I don't have a problem with Lula.
And why didn't you bring up these topics about Flávio in the debate? In interviews, you have been very tough about this. The lack of it. Why didn't you bring it up?
Because I was using my time to talk about the state. I don't want to embarrass him so much with the things he has to explain. I want to discuss the state. I could do it. He even tried to do it there. At the end of the debate, he tried to bring up this kind of issue when I didn't have any more time to speak. But if he wants to have a debate about ethics and politics, me and my family, me, my wife, and my children, I answer for the 4 of us calmly whenever he wants to have a debate about ethics. Ethics is a personal trait. It has nothing to do with anything else. Everyone is responsible for their own actions according to the law. I am completely open to discuss any subject.
Yes, but you also usually refer to Tarcísio as a far-right candidate in interviews.
Take care.
And in the debate, a lot of people said it was a civilized debate you were able to discuss. I can't believe it. Criticizing. I'm trying to understand how you see Tarcísio in that sense.
I know Tarcísio's position on the military dictatorship. For me, anyone who defends the military dictatorship is far right. About January 8th, Tarcísio tried to make excuses for those people. Tarcísio's stance was really weird regarding an attempt to blow up Brasília's airport, to assassinate the vice president, elected officials. I find it strange. Someone who claims to be a Democrat doesn't do that, right? It's one thing to criticize a Supreme Court justice. It's another thing to criticize the institution. It's not the same thing. I just criticized the commander of the military police appointed by Tarcísio, but I never did that with the military police itself. The organization is one thing, a bad apple is another. You can't mix things up if you're in a democracy. I don't consider Tarcísio a person with a democratic background because he never talked about the military dictatorship or January 8th. He doesn't respect the institutions. Then he went to apologize, right? And another thing that bothers me is someone wearing the cap of a leader from another country that's attacking their own country. That, to me, is also a characteristic of someone who is authoritarian. When we're in a dispute against another country, we rely on diplomacy and national unity. It's a united country and active diplomacy to achieve its goals. He ended up shooting his own state in the foot because the state most harmed by Trump's tariffs was São Paulo. Now, in the debate, I do things out of respect for the voter. I discuss, I criticize the decisions he's making, and I propose alternatives. I think that's the best way I can contribute to democracy, right? But I'm completely open to discussing any topic you suggest, even if he comes to the debate that you guys are going to do. I don't know if he'll come, but if he does, I'll submit to the rules of the debate that you set. You can choose the topics, you can choose. It's up to you. Choose any topic you want.
Candidate, you have criticized the privatization model of Tarcísio's government. You have already said that you are not radically against privatizations or concessions, nor are you automatically in favor of them. It depends on each case.
Exactly.
Yes, there is a discussion happening today regarding Enel's contract, and this is of great interest to people from São Paulo, and it's in the final stage of analysis.
Imagine.
Regarding the termination of the contract, I'd like to know your view on what happened with Enel and what the government's role should be in these cases.
Look, Enel was privatized. It used to be Eletropaulo, and this happened during Fernando Henrique Cardoso's government. Usually these concessions last for 2 or 3 decades, right? I think so, if I'm not mistaken. This contract is from 1996 and it expires now in 2026, and the federal government is responsible for this. That's why I said it. Fernando Henrique Cardoso's government didn't renew Enel's contract, and it didn't renew it because Enel committed so many atrocities.
Right, yeah.
That it's under review, because if Enel can't prove it's capable of solving the problems it created itself, the contract won't be renewed, which I think is how it should be. Notice that only Sabesp managed to surpass Enel in complaints at Procon after privatization. I mean, it could be that Sabesp turns into a water version of Enel, given the volume of complaints, including deaths, right? They killed 3 people in poorly executed works after privatization, just like what almost happened with the CPTM trains, which could have put people's lives at risk after those explosions, which resulted in a 90-day review of the privatization, just 3 days after the company was handed over to the one that bought the concession. So I will review the privatization contracts, because I can't accept that the state of São Paulo falls into traps like this. We've already fallen into Enel's trap 30 years ago. We are not going to repeat that now with Sabesp, which was the heritage of the people of São Paulo, something that made us all proud. And another thing I want to know about this water bill issue. Why didn't Tarcísio keep his promise to lower the water bill after the privatization? So he said the water bill would go down still? The reporter asked. From what I pay today? He said, from what you pay today, you will pay less. That didn't happen anywhere. In the entire state where Sabesp operates, there was an increase in the water bill. Just so you know, I got some information yesterday that I even asked to check. 40% of Sabesp's investment after privatization. Do you know what it was for? Changing water meters to cut off the water supply. As soon as someone is late and then has to request installment payments on their credit card, because there's no negotiation after privatization. So I need to look into this. If I become governor, I'll look into all of this. I'll review all of this, just like I did as mayor, just like I did as minister. I, as Minister of Finance, had to review the contracts that Tarcísio signed as Minister of Infrastructure, because according to the Federal Court of Accounts, everything was wrong and had to be reviewed. So there's no reason for us not to review the contracts here as well.
Candidate, you were Minister of Finance and led the efforts to approve a tax reform in the National Congress. Are you proud of that? In fact,
me and the whole country, right? Because according to all the experts, it was the biggest tax reform in Brazil's history, and it had been awaited for 40 years.